Hey, what up, guys? Coming to you this morning with another What's Next. This is on Cruiserweight Contender Aleksei Papin of Russia. Papin last fought in August when he lost a close majority decision to Ilunga Makabu in the WBC final eliminator. He came in undefeated, but only 11-0, so he hadn't really done much prior to that. And I was very surprised that he gave a veteran like Makabu a really good fight. It ended up being on like ESPN Plus that day. I remember it was on the Kovalev-Anthony Yard undercard. And yeah, he fought his ass off. It was a really good fight, but he dropped a very close majority decision to Makabu and hasn't fought since then. So with the coronavirus pandemic, I haven't heard anything about what he's going to do next. So, we got to see what his options are. He is currently ranked in the WBC. He's around, I think, 6, 7, or 8 in that area. And, again, haven't heard anything. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's next for Aleksei Papin of Russia. We start with number 1, IBF champion, Junior Dorticos. This fight's not going to happen next. Dorticos is lined up for the World Boxing Super Series final against Maris Bradis. I just heard yesterday that fight's getting pushed to next year, or to later in the year. The pandemic, it was supposed to happen on March 21st, got canceled, and then it was supposed to happen on May 16th, and again, it's getting pushed back. So we're waiting to hear what could happen with that final, but it's definitely not going to happen between Dorticos and Papin next, because Papin doesn't deserve it and Dorticos has a fight lined up. Number 2 is former 2-time champ Maris Bradis. Same thing. He's facing Dorticos next. Whenever that fight can happen, they'll host the World Boxing Super Series whenever the pandemic gets lifted and they're allowed to fight. So this fight's not possible. Number 3, former 2-time WBO champion Krzysztof Glowacki. Not happening next. Glowacki is lined up to fight for the vacant WBO title against Lawrence Okoli in his next fight, and Papin's just not on his radar right now. Number 4 is a rematch with newly crowned WBC champion Ilunga Makabu. Wouldn't completely rule it out, but Makabu has to be looking at Papin as a, what do I need to fight this guy type opponent? Why do I need to fight him? It wouldn't make a lot of sense for him. So, I think he stays away from a fight like this. I don't think the fight really makes sense, for Makabu right now, unless it's a mandatory. So this fight's not going to happen next. But you never know. I mean, Makabu could say, hey, it was a good first fight, let's do it again. But it wouldn't draw in a lot of money. Papin's not a big name, so I doubt it goes down. Number 5 is Contender Noel Gavor. Anything can happen. If the WBC wants to host some kind of an eliminator or one of the other governing bodies and Papin can get ranked in one of the other governing bodies, I think the fight would be possible. But I'm leaning towards the less likely, because Papin hasn't fought since last August and Gavor hasn't fought since last June. By the time these two guys get in the ring, it would be well over a year. Do I really think they're going to fight each other when neither one of the guys are big names and they're taking a risk? I don't think so. I at least see other fights happening, interim fights happening, if they were even to consider each other. So I don't see this one. Number 6 is former world title challenger Mikhail Cieslak. I doubt this one happens. Cieslak's a good fighter, but I doubt him and Papin lock horns unless it's some kind of a WBC final eliminator. But see, Cieslak is ranked all the way up at number 2, where Papin's ranked towards mid-level, like 7 or 8. So I don't see them making this fight, although they have similar situations where they fought similar opponents, or both fought Ilunga Makabu back-to-back, and both did really well, so I think it would be a good fight. But unless the WBC mandates this fight as a final eliminator or some kind of an eliminator, I don't think it happens. So I lean towards the less likely, but it still could happen. Next at number, drawing a blank. So Papin's number 7. Next at number 8 is former world title challenger Andrew Tabiti. Not seeing this one right here. Tabiti's a good fighter, but he hasn't fought since last June when he got knocked out in the semifinals of the World Boxing Super Series. I highly doubt they make this fight work. I highly doubt he wants to come back and take that kind of risk, so not going to happen. Number 9 is South African contender Kevin Lerena. Larena's highly rated in the WBA, and I think he's trying to just ease his way into possibly Beibut Shumanov or Arsen Goulamirian for one of the WBA titles. I don't think he's going to want to take a risk in some kind of eliminator against a Russian fighter who, hasn't really done much, outside of fight Ilunga Makabu. So I don't think he takes that kind of risk next. It looked like Lorena was already going to fight some nobody in his next fight, so I'm not seeing this one. And then finally, him against WBA super champion Arsen Goulamirian. I only see this fight happening if Goulamirian can't get one of the other top 10 guys in the ring and he wants to take a risk. Because Papin's a good fighter. He might want to just say, fuck it, I'll fight this guy and see how he does and, test himself. So, to me, I think Goulamirian, there's other options that you can give a world title fight to that might take it. Then again, if none of those guys sign up, I think Papin could be possible. So, just got to wait and see. So what do I think Aleksei Papin's going to do next? Honestly, I think he's just going to stay busy and take on kind of a low-level opponent, get a knockout win, get his feet wet again once the pandemic's lifted. It's probably going to be close to a year, 10 months, 10, 11, 12 months by the time he does come back, maybe even more than that if he decides not to come back till the late summer or fall. So I don't know if he wants to test himself out against one of the top 10 guys. But, if he were to get an opportunity against one of them, would he cash in on it, And I think, honestly, probably the best option in terms of guys that, if they were to be willing to fight, would be a Ilunga Makabu rematch, but that's kind of third. Michel Cieslak, second maybe. And then I think Arsen Goulamirian might want to take the risk if he has nothing else going on, but I still don't see it. So, again, I'm not seeing a top 10 guy in Papin's immediate future, but you never know what can happen. All right, guys, that's it. That's the What's Next on Russian Cruiserweight contender Aleksei Papin. Hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been here with the truth.